Good morning. I am Erin. My pronouns are she and her, and I serve this church as the newest member of your Religious Services Committee. Before we blend our voices in song, a few reminders. If you are visiting us for the first time today, you are especially welcome. Starla at the visitors table by the door can help you get oriented if you have any questions. If you have little ones, our greeters can show you the way to the nursery, which is available during the service for children ages 6 and younger. For children of all ages, may I joyously direct you to our quiet fidget station, which is back there in the library area, and there is a sign. Fidgets can help some folks listen better, but please put them back in the baskets before you leave. The music committee and the facilities team have worked together to transform the music room into a dual-purpose hospitality room for people who need it. The glass window plus a speaker inside the room makes it possible for folks with a higher needs kid or adults with a sensory overwhelm or anyone who might find it useful to tend to their needs with a little more privacy should they wish it. Please silence your cell phones. And today's opening hymn is number 108, My Life Flows On, an Endless Song, in your thicker gray hymnal. Please rise in spirit or body as you are comfortable.
Good morning. I'm here representing the Appalachian Dharma Meditation Center in Johnson City, Tennessee. And I welcome everybody. I'm glad to see everybody here this morning. Rain and Father's Day and all those issues. Yay. So I'm going to start the question. The service today is, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? You know, you can put any kind of spin on it you want, but I'm going to start out with a reading from Ram Dass, which kind of spoke to me as I took the topic on. So he says, I think that as you grow up, you become what society molds you to be. You become the child your family wants you to be, somebody who eats all their carrots. You start to develop an identity after a while, like you're good, you're bad, you're a rascal, you're whatever, fill in the blank. You've all had that definition applied to you. And we carry our somebodies around with us, and it allows us to be other people in an efficient way, to be with other people in an efficient way. The parent is under pressure to socialize the child, to make them socially functional. And in doing that, whether they intend to or not, they emotionally reward and punish the child for behaviors. This can cause some feelings of unworthiness or inadequacy in most human beings who do not fit the mold of this type of socialization. Very few people come through socialization unharmed. I mean, that is not an unfair statement. Usually we are left feeling that somehow I'm bad, or I have these things wrong with me, I'm not acceptable. There is always some kind of undercurrent there. So then you build this social structure, and what you end up with is a personality that's constantly looking to others for evaluation of our behavior. And you end up asking, do you approve of me? Do you like me? Am I good enough? Am I acceptable to you? Have I achieved enough? Do I have a right to exist? Many of us end up constantly looking into other people's eyes to find out who we are. It creates considerable anxiety because other people have their agendas, and their response to us is not always coming from a place of clarity. The response is coming in relation to their own needs. It's not surprising then that we end up giving a considerable amount of attention to our relationships. For most people, it's a very emotionally charged web we live in, and in order to feel safe and secure, we attempt to place people and define them in ways that are comfortable for us. So we enter into conspiracies with one another to define each other in very simple and stable and consistent ways. Ever since I've been born into somebodyness, the somebodyness had always limited who I was. I was trained to define who I was and who everybody else was. Most people learn these structures too. So you walk down the street and you are somebody. You see, you know who you are. Everything is somebodyness. The dialogue between somebodies goes like, this is who I am, this is who I am, that's who you are, that's who you are. Everybody is reinforcing their structure of the universe over and over again. And they meet like two huge things coming up together. This is who I am. This is who you are. And we enter into these conspiracies. I'll make believe you are who you think you are if you make believe I am who I think I am. Often you can look at another person as they come down the street and see who they think they are. We just kind of bump against each other like huge schmooze or something. You can see them in everybody. Everybody is busy being somebody. We build our expectations about each other, about who each other is. Often we become trapped in other people's expectations about us. We learn how to treat each other in habitual ways, and we develop characteristic ways of behaving with other people. Now, can we lighten up a little bit?
Oh, I can see you. Yeah, so she says lighten up, and I'm next on the agenda? So listen, should I be singing Who Do You Think You Are? Or that Who song, Who Are You? Who? We know those songs, right? Yeah. So, okay, all right. I'm Linda. I'm your untrained service leader for today. If you're with us on the internet, or if you're with us sitting in these chairs around me, we are one community, united in our commitment to each other and to our commitment to live out our principles in this world. The call to worship was by our guest speaker, and if that's just the call to worship, you just sit there and wait on the sermon, you know? She is Marina Munjal. Marina has been an HVUUC member for, long time, since 1996. And her original attendance here offered her the opportunity to explore her spiritual identity. That's what we do here. And in so doing, she found that she would ultimately pursue the Buddhist path. In 2001, she and several members of the community and some friends also founded the Holston Valley Sangha, which is a congregation for Buddhism, basically. And they studied Buddhism and meditation. They met in the RE building up the hill here for 10 years, and then they decided, we're growing enough, we've got our act together, we're going to provide ourselves a space. And they did so on 10th Avenue in Johnson City, and it is now the Appalachian Dharma and Meditation Center. I always look forward to hearing Marina, and I do so today, as she is one of my esteemed teachers and very good friends. If I said how I truly felt about Marina, I would get her started that crying thing that she's so prone to do. So I'm not gonna go any farther than that. So I'll leave it there, and we'll move to our chalice lighting. Today, we light the chalice. It is our traditional way of opening our spiritual time together. It has great historical significance and social justice significance, and it brings light in our hearts today. Now, normally we have someone who comes in and lights the chalice, and today we have Aaron Jenkins to come and help us with the chalice lighting. Aaron is in the 35th grade at the School of Life. We usually talk about the grade this person's in, and so she is in the School of Life, the 35th year, and she likes music, she likes Celtic studies, and she loves to laugh, because we've been laughing a lot this morning. We light this chalice with an open heart. These are the words of Sarah Ruth Davis. We light this chalice with resolve. We light this chalice with tears still fresh on our cheeks. We light this chalice in hope, a tiny flame. Not so tiny. We nurture. We light this chalice with reverence for this place, for these people, for this time. We light this chalice with all our souls longing to be who we are, to be who we will become, and to be ourselves. We light this chalice in self-love, in giving love, in holy love. The words of Sarah Davis. You know, ours is not a perfect community. Imagine that. We're wonderful, we're messy, we're a work in progress that earnestly tries hard to get it right. On behalf of this congregation, if you are here for the first time seeking a spiritual home or a safe space of inquiry and acceptance, we welcome you. To the familiar faces I've come to know and love, I welcome you. We welcome you. And all of our beautiful diversity of experience, education, stages of our journeys, origin, sexuality, age, and gender, we welcome you. We value who you are and what you bring. Today, our guest speaker, Marina, has a story about Zora and the magic breath. The story focuses on a very young child and yet holds wisdom for all of us. Marina?
Wow, I got the book over here. All right. I'm just identifying children who may be in the group. Not too many, but. So I brought this story and I've read it to my grandchildren, and it has had some effect on them, so I hope it will as well speak to anyone here. You know, it's a gentle introduction to breathing meditation. And it begins with this little person, Zora, loved building things, block towers, cardboard forts, and pillow mountains. But sometimes when things didn't go his way, he felt a storm swirling inside. One afternoon, Zora stacked his tallest tower yet, higher, and just one more block, crash, it tumbled to the floor. Zora's fists clenched, his tummy tightened, his eyes filled with hot tears. "I'm so mad," he shouted. Now, we never felt that. As adults, this is a kid thing, So. His mommy came over and sat beside him. "This was frustrating," she said gently. Zora nodded. "Oh my gosh, I've seen my grandchildren look exactly like that." "There's something that helps me when I feel like that," said Mommy. "It's called the magic breath." Zora sniffled. "Magic?" Mommy smiled. "Yep, it's a superpower that lives inside you, ready to try." So Zora gave a tiny nod. "First," Mommy said, "pretend you're smelling a flower. Breathe in through your nose." And Zora closed his eyes and sniffed. He imagined the biggest, sweetest smelling flower ever. "Now blow out slowly, like you're blowing out birthday candles." Zora blew gently, in and out, in and out. And the storm in his tummy faded, his fists loosened, and his smile returned. Mommy grinned. "You used your magic." "I feel better," Zora said. And Zora looked proud. "I'm gonna build again." Later that night, Zora heard his little cousin crying. He tiptoed over and he whispered, "Hey, you want to learn the magic?" But Zora didn't know. The next big feeling he'd face wouldn't be anger at all. It would be something entirely different. And he had that superpower. He's developed. He knows it will work when things get really tense and tight in your body and you just don't know what to do with yourself. So you can try it yourself in those times. You breathe in like you're smelling a flower, breathe out like you're blowing out birthday candles. Repeat it, and things kind of settle down a little bit. So we all may experience big emotions. This is one element which Buddhists refer to as dukkha, or unease, discomfort. Something's not quite the way we think it should be. And the magic breath gives space to calm yourself. Rather than reacting thoughtlessly out of emotion, you can respond with mindfulness. It gives you that moment, that break in the intensity of the feeling, and you don't react, you respond. The breath is one way to invite calm, but there's many other ways. This is just one. So, in thinking that there might be small people here, I did bring calming jars, so if you'd like to have one, after the service, come by and get one. And I also have, from our Dharma Center, the beads, which you can use to calm yourself as well, through counting the breath, through just fiddling to the touch of them, and they'll help you kind of bring yourself to center again. And actually, the calming jar is a really good example of your mind when you get crazy about stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm late, I can't find the keys, the door won't open, You take that breath, and then you just let your mind settle down. And then all of a sudden, you can find your keys, you can find the door, you know who you are. One is for Rosemary, but anybody who has a young person that this might appeal to or something, you are very welcome to come up after the service, pick up some beads, pick up a jar. They're right here.
Zora's story speaks to us in a unique form, doesn't it? Music can speak to a part of us that runs even deeper than words. Today's musical offering takes us out of East Tennessee to the EQG Temple in Kyoto, Japan, with the Heart Sutra Buddhist chant. Sutra is a text of Buddhist teaching. So they're going to do the Heart Sutra Buddhist chant.
Kahanya haramita shingyo Kanji zaibo sagyo ji hanya haramita ji shoken go onkai kudo issai kuyaku shari shi shiki fui kuku fui shiki shiki sokuze kuku sokuze shiki ju sogyo shiki yaku bunyo ze shari shi ze shohoku soku shofu netsu fuku不増不減で航空中無式無重創業式無限に微絶心に無式証拠に速報無限界内し無意識界無無明薬無無明人内し無老死薬無老死人無空種滅道無知薬無得意無所得公膨大サッタエハンニャハラミタコシムケゲムケゲコムウクグオンリ一切天道無足行ネハンサンデ小仏レハンニャハラミタコトクアノクタラ山脈三宝大高地ハンニャハラミタゼ大人衆ゼ大名衆ゼ無常衆ゼ無東道衆道場一切空真実不公公説ハンニャハラミタ収束説収圧ギャテギャテハラギャテハラソギャテボジソワカハンニャ信用マカハンニャハラミタ信用漢字財宝作業人ハンニャハラミタ自称言語音階空洞一切空薬者利子式不意空空不意式式即税空空即税式重創業式薬無尿税者利子税商北総不商不滅不空不上不増不減税航空中無式無重創業式無限に微絶心に無式証拠未速報無限界内し無意識界無無明薬無無明人内し無老死薬無老死人無空種滅道無知薬無得意無所得公募大サッタエハンニャハラミタコシムケゲムケゲコムウク
Now I will offer the chant that we use at the center to open up the space and center our presence in this moment. And it's a traditional Vipassana chant. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa.
Today is Father's Day, so we take this moment to hold space for all that may mean for us with a Father's Day prayer by Amy Jones. We hold love for those who have lost fathers and for those fathers who have lost children. We now acknowledge and hold non-binary, transgender, and cisgender dads in families made of two dads, foster and adoptive dads, and single dads. We hold and work to lift up all fathers, fathers of color, those fathers raising children of color. We hold fathers kept apart from their children by borders and by war. We hold fathers and children who have lost connection, children who have been disowned or abandoned by their fathers, and the father figures who then step in. We hold those longing to become fathers. We hold those who may be full of questions about their biological fathers. Most importantly, we hold and thank the dads and the papas and the daddies, all who show up every day to give their all to the children who need them. Human relations are complicated. These days of recognition are complex. Please take a moment to breathe in what serves you and breathe out that which does not. Come to this community with all that you are. Your joys and concerns are welcome here. We share our moments of joy and sorrows through using candle cards located on the back cabinet in the sanctuary. They look like this, so you can fill them out. And you can do that, or you can email Reverend Tiffany at minister@hvuuc.org with the words candle card in the subject line. Please make sure whether to indicate whether or not you would like the card read aloud in the service, which, by the way, is being publicly broadcast on YouTube. I have a card of joy from me. A card of joy and gratitude for the freedom to have our voices heard yesterday at the peaceful protest. And then I have several other cards. From Greg Kramer. Lyle Egan, a longtime member of this church, is at the VA hospital, room 1189. He is undergoing surgery on Monday. The caring team has been informed. Another card from Greg Kramer. Greg went to 2 funerals yesterday for 2 friends who worked with him at HVUUC, the Southeastern Unitarian Universalist Summer Conference. We're with you in your sorrow, Greg. And from an anonymous person, I would like to my candle of joy to be a part of the spiritual community which sides with love and showed up big yesterday in Kingsport, Johnson City, and around just to be. Our fifth UU principle, the democratic process. Thank you to all. Peace and out. I think we might know who that was. A card of joy for Pride Month and the celebrations happening all over the country, continuing the message of celebrating and being seen. A card of concern for those who are not safely open celebrating Pride Month. We are holding everyone whose rights and existence continue to be challenged outright and denied. And a card of acknowledgement in which we hold this Father's Day for its meaning to all of us. Now, if you wish to light your own silent candle, approach the side of the table that is closest to you, and the closer candle keeper will assist you. If you wish us to light a candle for you and you'd like to stay seated, please, as I look around the sanctuary, hold up your hand and I will acknowledge you and ensure that a candle is lit for your intention. This is also a time when you can place, for youth, you can place your donation where Aaron is holding up the basket. This donation is for helping with hunger in our area, and you can place your donation in that basket as you come up to the candle table. Our community is so much larger than those just of us who are in this building this morning. So we light a candle to hold space for those who are not physically present with us, but are ever in our hearts. So I will start here. And we light all the candles for all that remains spoken in our hearts and minds.
Joined the HVUUC TKR Club, Total Knee Replacement Club. So I'm still a little wobbly getting up the steps, so. But it's good to be here, and welcome everybody. So I chose this topic several months ago, and this week was trying to consider how to make it relevant to this moment in view of recent world events. I mean, it sounds a little self-absorbed. Who do I think I am when the whole world is on fire? But it always starts right here. The way you react, the way you are with what happens. So it's not totally misplaced, and we'll give it some consideration. The talk is an extreme simplification of the Buddhist concept of anatta, or no self. And this is really one of the most difficult concepts for anybody even involved with Buddhism to internalize, to get, and actually one of the most important and most basic. So this is an introduction, oversimplification, so we'll see where it goes. Hopefully will lead for some food for thought, some discussion. I know it does when I presented at ETSU public health class. People are like, what are you talking about? But anyway, so I'll start by asking you, who do you think you are? If someone asks you, who are you? How do you answer that? What goes through your mind? Who are you? How do you respond? And then can you identify the source of that definition of yourself? Where did it come from? Why do you consider yourself that? You might reply with your name, your age, what you do for a living, things that interest you. So many different identities you can answer with. It may depend on what circumstance, where you are, who you're talking to. Go back to Ram Dass, and it's like, how can you appease this person you're talking to? How will you not look, out of place? So there's so many different elements, and where do they come from? All of these descriptions are dependent on the world outside of yourself. Shinrin Suzuki claims you exist as an idea in your mind. Colombian Zen monk Santiago Sante Jimenez says, entering life is like being invited to a masquerade. And to join in, we get a mask to wear. But being babies, we can't make our own mask. So those close to us, usually our parents or relatives, start crafting it. And then they put it on us. The initial components of this mask include a name, a gender, nationality, and in many cases, a religion. And as we grow older and continue to dance along, new elements are continually added, slowly building up our identity. But we ourselves don't realize that we're wearing a mask or that it's being made. From the outset, we're told that our name and so on is who we are, and if the elements constituted absolute, solid, separate, and permanent essence with which we'd come into this world. We don't recognize them as products of our environment, which could have been very different in different circumstances. I mean, if you think about it, if your parents had been different, if they had had different experiences, if you had lived in a different country, you'd be the same body, you'd have the same configuration, but you would be different. Your sibling order, so many things influence the way you are in the world. Different input. This is what you see, but different. I speak a different language. I have a different way of expressing myself. But is this a bad thing? Not necessarily. We need an identity to navigate this world that we live in. So it's not necessarily bad. You need to be able to move around in it. But could we be more than this? And why does it even matter? How can we find it? I think it matters because if we remember the reading from Ram Dass, these labels and definitions are not necessarily accurate or fixed. We may not be that bad kid, that rascal or unacceptable, unattractive person we've been led to believe. If one accepts this painful identity that's been placed on you, that has been given to you from outside of yourself, you may experience unease, discomfort, anxiety in the way you are in the world. And the use of unskillful or harming tactics to make yourself feel better about yourself. I didn't mean to make it you. In here I've written more of a they. Anyway, and here is where we might possibly connect with the characteristics that are showing themselves currently on the world stage. Someone acting out because they were mistreated as a child, maybe ignored, and need to prove they are somebody. They are important. They are powerful. They are special. Maybe they should have been doing some internal work, So one of the three marks of existence in Buddhism, this is the foundation of it, is the no self, or anatta, and the other two being dukkha, which I know you've all heard of, suffering, and it's that idea of unease, discomfort, So it's not necessarily suffering, heavy-duty suffering. And you feel it in your body. You know, when you feel is unease, you feel it in your body, and it's uncomfortable. So you're aware of it. And the third mark of existence then is impermanence. And they all work together to inform each other. You know, so you keep that in mind when you're doing the, even the no self. No self refers to no fixed, permanent, unchanging self. And we sometimes have that idea that this is who we are. We do this, we do this, we do this, we do this. And when you can feel that in your body, that discomfort, you begin to question. That's when you can begin to question and say, am I really this? And it changes. You want to allow for things to change and evolve. Input and influences are constantly changing from moment to moment. It's like an eddy in a stream. Water flows, but is diverted into a rock configuration and swirls around, but it's still water. So it's almost like an individual is fed this flow of different influences, and they change the way you are, but they flow in, they flow out. The water flows in, the water flow out. The influence, some stay, some move on. That was always a really good way of seeing it for me. And it is a difficult concept. We are born into this body, we use it for about 100 years, and then it passes away. Or to put it another way, what was physical form transforms into something else. And I always have this picture in my mind of like, there's the earth and the atmosphere, the gravity that holds all these things there. And you think about all of the people, all of the life in the existence of the world that have been born and died and come and gone, trees, flowers, people, and all the same stuff is there. Nothing comes in, minimal amount comes in, goes out, but it all stays there, and it's just this constant transformation, constant transformation. If you feed your body healthier food, think of the changes that causes in how you see yourself. You know, I'm getting stronger, I feel better, I look better. Or you read a book, talk to someone unexpected, walk a different way to work. So many things can influence the worldly me. And you kind of see human existence on those two planes. I almost see it like the undercurrent of the connectedness of everything, and then on top is this whole drama going on of, you know, who you think you are, and who you think that person is, and how you should react to them and everything. But underneath it is something that can inform this outside activity. You know, that something then can make it more authentic. What you perceive as me is a constant flow of causes and conditions coming from outside yourself. What you consider me is a continual, impermanent flow of influences. And dukkha, or the unease, occurs when you try to hold on to those things, to cling to a solid, fixed idea of who you are, especially when it doesn't fit anymore. So how can you find your authentic being? Well, my thought is meditation, and that's a Buddhist technique for finding that peace. There's particularly two kinds of meditation in Buddhism. One is the shamatha meditation, which is the calming. You use the breath, you use the beads, the jars, to find that calm space where you can see, where you can hear what is the voice inside of you, that calm being calm abiding. And you develop, that's a muscle. I mean, you don't sit down and automatically feel it. So you work at it day after day after day, finding the quiet, calm place. And the second kind then is vipassana meditation or insight meditation. And that's where you look when that feeling comes up. What is it? Where does it come from? Why is it there? Does it need to be there? Do you want to do something with it? So that's all that insight. And these both require effort, a great deal of effort and diligence initially. And then it's just the way it is. You just do it. So in regard to that, one way to begin the experience on no self that has been particularly powerful for me is the 6 element practice in Buddhism. And it's particularly well perfected by Bodhisattva of the Wild Mind Online Meditation Center. So I'm going to give you a faint flavor of what that might look like, and to kind of get the idea. And the 6 elements are earth, air, water, energy. Let me look them up in my space, and consciousness. So those are the elements that we're going to talk about. And I will begin with the earth element and kind of do a more in-depth, what's the time? Oh, not real in-depth, but of what it is that this idea of the meditation. So the earth element is everything that is solid outside of you, the trees, the leaves, the earth, the building, the chairs, everything that's solid outside of you, how it enters you, enters you, passes through you, there's a process, and ultimately is released. There is nothing that you hold on to that comes from outside of you. That's the basic idea. It's like you eat food, it nourishes your body, you use that for a while, and then you release it. Passes through you, in, out, all those elements. And that's where you can kind of see that interconnectedness. And for a little bit more in-depth, we notice all the things in your body that are solid, your bones, your teeth, your organs, and you begin to look at them and see what they're made of, what they look like. And then you start to visualize what's outside of you, recalling roads, mountains, rocks, pebbles, the food you eat, crops. And you come to a conscious, mindful way of experiencing them, going through you. Everything solid within your body and everything solid externally is the same earth element. Every molecule that has contributed to the earth element in this body similarly has come from outside. And we can visualize the flow of the earth element from fields and soil into the body and know that there's not a single molecule of solid matter within this body that is self-originated. It is all borrowed. And we have to give it back. We're giving it back every moment. Shed hairs, skin cells, use the bathroom. We visualize all this in the practice. Taking in, building, dissolving. The cells in your body have no other function than to move, to process. So the earth element within is borrowed, and it's always returning to the outside world, flowing through us like a river. And as we collect the earth element flowing in this way, we can reflect, this is not me. This is not mine. I am not this. There's not even any question of letting go. The earth element never was us. It never was ours. We never were holding on to it, because how can you cling to something that's flowing? It's borrowed from the outside world. Just borrowed. This is not me. I am not this. Yeah. So you can take this consideration with all the other elements And come, and it's a long meditation. You know, it's like you can take each of these elements for a week or so. So that's something, if you want to explore further, is available. And I'm going to end with a quote, or with a line from Cat Stevens' song. You're only dancing on this earth for a short time. Don't waste this precious human birth. And my favorite song with the grandchildren, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Thank you.
A few words from the Dhammapada, which is a collection of Buddhist verses. Never does hatred cease by hating in return. Only through love can hatred come to an end. Victory breeds hatred. The conquered dwell in sorrow and resentment. They who give up all thought of victory or defeat be calm and live happily at peace. Let us overcome violence by gentleness. Let us overcome evil by good. Let us overcome the miserly by liberty. Let us overcome the liar by truth. Aaron will extinguish our chalice today. Thank you, Aaron, and thank you all of you for being with us today. Our annual Soapbox Sunday service is coming up really fast, and that is not the Soapbox Derby. It is a service, and it is when youth and adults both can stand up here and get on your soapbox for 3 to 5 minutes. That is on July 6th. Talk to Rosemary if you want to schedule yourself there. A couple of other announcements before we head out to coffee hour. The official game night group is taking a hiatus for the summer so far, June and July. The religious services team will be delighted if you deposit your unwanted order of service papers in one of the paper bins or on your way out. The paper bins are marked with this. So if you'll put your unwanted order of service there, that will really save them a lot of work. And there's one of these in the coffee area as well as out front. You can learn more about the many opportunities for fellowship, justice work, and working together by visiting our website, HVUUC.org, and checking our news and events sections. A couple other things too. Peggy has asked me to announce Circle Suppers will begin in September. Supper circles include 4 to 6 participants meeting at a member's home or if needed at the church. Each month the participants will be rotated so that you will meet different people. You may indicate your interest by emailing circlesuppers@hvuuc.org. Information and registration are also available today during coffee hour. Okay, the Pride Community Center will host its 4th annual Rainbow Festival this year and to celebrate Pride Month on June 28th. I believe that's this Saturday. Is that this Saturday? 2 weeks. Okay, Saturday week. Okay, the Social Justice Committee at HVUUC will have a table and crafts available for the community. Volunteers are needed for 2-hour shifts throughout the event to manage the table and engage with the community. So you can use, I think there's a form online, and it's in your bulletin on the back side, the URL to that form. And but a clickable link in the events section on our website as well. Or you can email lgbtqia@hvuuc.org with any questions. Are there any other announcements that I have overlooked? Good. We can go to coffee hour. Yeah. Okay, so I'm done.
You could have said it, Linda. It's okay. Our closing hymn for this month is For All That Is Our Life, number 128 in the thick gray hymnal. And this is also when we will pass the offering plate. The contributions that you make to us during the offering supports the way that we build each other up within this community and also gives us the resources we need to stretch out into the wider world to make a positive impact. If you're making a pledge payment, please mark it as such. And thank you so much for your contributions. Please rise with us and embody your spirit for our closing hymn, For All That Is Our Life, number 128.
We'll finish with Shanti Deva's prayer. May I become at all times, both now and forever, a protector for those without protection, a guide for those who have lost their way, a ship for those with oceans to cross, and a bridge for those with rivers to cross, a sanctuary for those in danger, a lamp for those without light, a refuge for those who lack shelter, and a servant to all in need. For as long as space endures and as long as living beings remain, may I too abide to dispel the misery of the world. And from the Metta Sutta, with an unbound heart, may we cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the whole world, upward to the skies and downward to the depths, outwards and unbounded, free from hatred and ill will. And may we dedicate the merit of our gathering together to the benefit of all beings. Thank you all.